Hi everyone, my name's Dominic and I'm really excited today to tell you about my new investment project called MyCoinProject.com. So what is this project? Well, it's going to be about my adventure going into the world of cryptocurrencies using a website called Cointellect. I'll be writing a blog and making a website so you can follow me from start to finish and see what money I'm making, if I'm making money, and if it's something that you want to join in as well. So the website is MyCoinProject.com. Feel free to head over there and check that out. I'll be documenting everything from start to finish so you can see what I'm up to. So this is all about my adventure into the world of cryptocurrency. I'm going to be documenting everything and providing regular updates on how my investment's going. And I've done a lot of research before I put any of my own money into this, and I want to share this research with you to save you spending the hours that I did trolling the internet to see, is it a scam? Is it going to be profitable? Is it worth putting my money in? And yeah, so I want to share that with you, and head over to my blog website, leave some comments, let's get interactive and see where we go from there. So, as this project is going to very heavily rely on Cointellect and their service, I want to very quickly go over what Cointellect is for those of you who don't know. I imagine some of you do know, which is how you found this YouTube video or my website in the first place, but for those of you who don't, I'm just going to explain very quickly. So previously, if we wanted to mine cryptocurrencies, we would have had to buy hardware and have that hardware on site where we live, or wherever, and that would need to be set up and connected to the internet to provide hashing power. I can't, or I don't want to buy loads of hardware, turn my man room into a server room with loads of this noisy equipment, having to monitor it, having to do all the setting up, having to configure all the hardware, etc. And that's not something I've got the time to do, or something that I really have the space to do at home either. So along came Cointellect. They decided, look, we'll rent out our server power or mining power or hashing power to people on the internet, and we'll take care of all the mining, the configuration, and the pools, etc. And then we'll give you the Dogecoin. So you go to them and say, I want to buy this amount of power for this amount of time, and they say we reckon you're going to make this amount per day. This is going to be your return on investment. It's a contract and it will last for a set amount of time. So they also take care of putting you in their mining pool. So what is a mining pool very quickly? Well, it's just a pool of different miners. So say me and two other people signed up to their website, all three of us would be in the same mining pool, working on the same algorithms to unlock coins. This provides more reliable mining, more profitable mining. It's just the more of us in the pool, the better. So all their customers are in the same pool. Cointellect will also make a little amount of money from everyone being in their pool as well, which is fair play to them. What happens then is Cointellect then mines your Dogecoin. You can keep track of that through their website. There's loads of dashboards, etc. And yeah, they convert your Dogecoin automatically into euros, and you can cash that out on a daily basis using PayPal, cash out with Dogecoin itself, or cash out using something called CryptoPay. I'll go over in another video my experience about withdrawing from Cointellect on using the different methods, etc. Okay, so why are Cointellect doing this? Why aren't they just using all their servers just to mine all the coin themselves and leave people like me and you out of this? Well, there's already hundreds of companies doing that. Large enterprises have invested millions into these data centers and are doing just that and keeping all the coins for themselves and keeping all the profits within. Cointellect are doing something a bit different by allowing us, the individuals, to come in, and this is actually going to bring them a number of benefits, in my opinion. They're going to be able to make money by selling their hashing power service. So obviously they'll know that a server can provide, this amount of hashing power. It costs them this much a month, and they can then resell that at a higher value, pocketing the difference. They can then reinvest that money or, do what they want. They're also going to be making money by converting our Dogecoin. So, they automatically convert the Dogecoin into euros at the exchange rate, and they will make a small percentage per each fee. small percentage on each daily transaction they do. Now I also reckon they're hedging their own investments. So rather than just plowing all their money into servers and mining it all themselves, it also hedges against this and reduces the risk by having other people put the money in. Say if something happened to Dogecoin, it collapsed, or cryptocurrencies in general. There's no doubt it's very, very uncertain, the future of cryptocurrencies. People saying it's going to explode, some people saying it's going to absolutely collapse within a year. No one knows. That's the bottom line. So I think it's a smart way of them hedging their own investment should anything happen to the cryptocurrency world. I also believe they'll be making a small amount of money by owning a large mining pool with all their customers. If I was to go set up my own mining pool for a cryptocurrency and I happen to have thousands of users in that, I'd be making a small income, so no doubt they are as well. Okay, so one of the things you might be wondering, and also one of the things that I want to go over, is why I'm publishing this project on the internet. Why am I sharing my investment with you? Why am I not doing it myself? Well, first of all, I did when I was doing my research, I couldn't actually find any videos on YouTube or any kind of blogs that actually openly disclose what money they're making and documenting their investment with Cointellect from start to finish. So I thought, why not be the first and do that for everyone? It's also going to be a much funner way of doing the investment rather than me doing it on my own. I get to communicate people, meet new people, learn new things, share my knowledge. It's just going to be better for everyone. I've always wanted to invest in cryptocurrencies. On a separate note, I do believe it will be the future. It's not going to happen soon, in my opinion, but I do think it is the future, and I've been looking for a long time to be able to invest in it. But holding on to bitcoins, hoping they're going to increase in value, buying mining equipment, it's just not got the right risk to reward ratio. I've done the calculations and it's just not for me, or not where I want to be putting my investments in. So yeah, I wanted to allow you to join me along the journey. Let me act as your test subject or your guinea pig, see how I'm doing, and then you can see is this something you want to come along with as well. Now I also want to say that, another reason is they do have a good affiliate scheme. I'm not going to beat about the bush. I'm hoping with me sharing my knowledge with everyone that if you do decide to invest and you do think it's useful, then you'll use my affiliate code, and that will get me a small kickback to help me keep the site running, help me, use my time more efficiently to produce more videos for you guys. And yeah, so I'm hoping by doing all this, setting up the blog, setting up the website, paying the hosting costs, I'm going to get a small profit of people using my affiliate link. I'm being honest about that. I'd rather share that with you guys. I hope you do find this knowledge that I'm sharing with you and my time that I'm putting into this useful, and in return that you'll use my affiliate code, which will give me a small kickback. You'll be no worse off. So why not do it and leave it blank? So please do that. Also, it's going to help increase exposure to Cointellect, which I think is going to be good for everyone. The more people that join Cointellect, the stronger that website's going to get, the more they're going to grow, the better their mining pool's going to get, the more consistent our profits. It's just going to be better for everyone. Hopefully it can go strength for strength. I like their idea, I believe in it, and I hope they hope they succeed as a business. In case you're wondering who I am, I just want to spend 2 minutes just to let you know that I don't work for Cointellect in any way. I'm not affiliated with them in any way apart from being one of their customers. I've got, they're not paying me to do this or anything, crazy like that. It's just, I want to do this for the reasons I said on the last slide. So if you want to know about me, my name's Dominic. I'm actually living in the UK. I live in Newcastle, originally from the northwest though. I'm 27 years old, and I actually work for an IT company full-time as a sales account manager. So obviously the IT world is just an interest to me anyway. So yeah, just wanted to let you know, I'm not working for them. This is who I am, and feel free to ask me any questions if you want to know more. Okay, let's get to the most exciting part of the project, which is the money. What we're going to be making, what we're going to be investing. This is what it's all about. In front of you, you'll see right now is Cointellect's different contracts which they offer for mining power. They've got 2 types of contracts, cloud contracts and hosted contracts. I'd advise you stay away from the hosted contracts unless there's no cloud contracts left available. Hosted contracts actually come with a monthly fee you have to pay on top of the cost, which is to account for the electricity which their server uses. So A1 I think it's about €105 a month, and A2 it's about €210 a month. So that will go up and down, I believe, but yeah, providing they've always got enough hashing power left on their cloud contracts, eventually they may run out. I always recommend you go with that and stay away from the hosted contracts unless you absolutely have to and there's no cloud contracts left. So the cloud contracts, what are they all about? They've got different levels. Personally, the first one I got was the demo one for €15. I wanted to make sure, it worked, only fools rush in, as the saying. So I wanted to make sure that, it does what it says it does. And sure enough, the demo one is working out as we speak and going quite well. They then do at different levels of ones, and, they won't actually even let you buy the expert, premium or basic ones until you've done the pilot. I'm guessing this is probably, to cover their self for fraud, but also to cover yourself to make sure you know what you're getting involved in first before, you go and put €5,000 into their expert plan and, not really know what you're doing. So, yeah, these are the different plans available. Have a look, do the calculations yourself. The break-even point on the ones I'm doing is about 55 days. I'll be covering that in a second. But yeah, do keep on the cloud contracts, stay away from the hosted contracts. And if you're wondering what the virtual contract is at the top, very quickly, that is actually where you download their software and then you use your PC to mine for them, and then they give you the payments. Don't bother with this. Don't even bother downloading their software. I think I tried it for a day. I got something stupid like €0.001, and I've got a decent PC. So yeah, don't even bother downloading the software. Ignore that virtual contract and focus on the other ones. Okay, so like any good investor, or before any investment that I do, it's really important that you have a plan or an outline about what your investment strategy is going to be. Why you're doing it, what profits you're expecting to make. If you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. I'm a big believer in that saying. So this is going to be my outline and my investment strategy, and I'll say why I'm doing it in this method, and hopefully it'll all make sense. So I'm going to run through the numbers now. So basically, getting started, I'm going to buy 5 of the 6-month contracts, which are just under €300 each. So that's just under €1,500 to start with, and that will make me €27.5 a day. Now, if you do the maths, it's about 54.5 days until you break even. After that, it's all gravy for the rest of the duration of the contract. So next comes phase 2. So just after 3 months, I calculate that I'll be €1,000 in profit. Now I'm going to reinvest this into the €1,000 contract, which will make me an extra €13.70 a day. So that'll bring me up to about 40, just over €40 a day in terms of mining profits, and I'll be back to break even after 3 months because I'll have reinvested that 1,000 profits into more mining power. So then after 6 months, which should be when I next get involved in any contracts, phase 1 contracts would have just run out. So those €1,500 worth of contracts from phase 1 would have disappeared. However, I would have made €2,425 in the last 3 months, and also the €1,000 contract would have made me €1,200. So that total profit so far after 6 months is €3,625. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm actually going to bank €625. So that money's safe. Happy days. And I'm actually then going to invest €3,000 in the 18-month contract, generating €50 a day. Okay, and now if I do nothing, just absolutely nothing apart from monitor, and collect my earnings and just let the contracts run out, I'm now estimated to make €31,000 over in the next 18 months. Yes, that's €31,000. However, if everything's still going well, after 9 months, I'll have €6,000. I'll be €6,000 up. I'm going to bank half of it, So, my total cash out now will be €3,625. I'll be, nicely in profit, over double my money. And then I'm going to invest the other €3,000 in another 18-month contract, generating €50 a day. Now, if I just let it run out, which I probably will at this stage, I imagine, that's going to be €51,000, which will take about 2.5 years to collect. Now, that is the rough plan. It's absolutely solid in terms of the numbers. I've double checked them. I've gone over them many a times, and it's a lot of profit. Let's be honest. 2.5 years, making €51,000 from just putting in €1,500 is pretty amazing. But there are a few things you have to bear in mind. So let's get onto them. So before you get your checkbook out and say where to assign, I want to make my 50,000 plus euros like you are. It's very important, like in any investment, is to consider what are the possible risks and how we can mitigate them, and how can our investment fail. It's so important, guys, that you not just of this project, but any investment you're doing or any business you're starting, you need to understand how can it fail to avoid those pitfalls. So let's focus on the risks that I believe are there with this investment and what my thoughts on them are. So the first one is obviously you're mining Dogecoin. Dogecoin is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it in a cryptocurrency exchange. And you are forced to mine Dogecoin with Cointellect. You don't have a choice, unfortunately, about which coin you're allowed to mine. So in theory, and this is on their website and the risk disclaimer, if the Dogecoin value collapses, so it becomes absolutely worthless, no one wants to use it anymore, everyone's using bitcoins or cryptocurrencies dead, you're going to have the remainder amount of the contract mining these worthless coins, which is going to suck. So yeah, that is the number one risk in my opinion. So I actually went out my way to contact Cointellect and ask them about this risk. And to me, the obvious way that they should do is, if Dogecoin collapses, they've got all this resource, why not just start mining another cryptocurrency? So they actually said that in the reply, which I'll post on my website for you all to see, MyCoinProject.com. But basically they said that they can actually modify their software to mine a different cryptocurrency in the event that Dogecoin value collapses. How quickly they'll do this, they didn't say, or how worthless Dogecoin has to be before they do this, they didn't say either. But it's nice to know that they can, in theory, actually modify their software to mine a different cryptocurrency. So that's still a big risk in my opinion, but at least there is a bit of a backup plan there should that ever happen. Now, the second biggest risk in my opinion is actually Cointellect is actually running a very elaborate scam and isn't even mining cryptocurrencies. Now, I actually don't think this is true, but like any good investor, I have to cover all my bases. There are scams out there, investment scams where you go to people and say, look, give me €100 or £100, I'll double it for you. They then come back with €200. You keep on saying I'll double it, and you're doing this to hundreds of people out there, and you're using everyone's different money to pay everyone off, and you rely on the human element of greed. People keep on putting more and more money in, and then eventually you're holding millions, and then you just do a legger. So it could be doing that, but I just don't believe it is at all. I've done a lot of research. That was my first thought. Could they be doing this? I've seen videos of people cashing out. If they were doing that scam, they wouldn't block off the higher level contracts, because it would rely on people pouring money in as much as they could. Again, you wouldn't be able to cash out daily basis, because if you are doing that scam, cash flow is king. You would only do cash outs once a month to help you be able to manage everyone who's putting the money in and out. So I really don't believe doing that. The dashboard and the software looks pretty good. They've obviously put a lot of time into designing that. It shows live earnings and things like that. So I don't believe it is doing that, but that was an initial thought, but I've now ruled that one out. Again, the other risk, another risk is, how easy is it to cash out your earnings? Again, that was a big risk of mine. Maybe you put all this money in and they just don't let you cash out. They put obstacles up. They want to hold on to the money themselves. I'm not, I may do a video about me cashing out some earnings just to prove that you can get them out, but you can do it to PayPal, you can do it through Dogecoin. There's loads of videos on YouTube of people already, showing live proof that you can cash out earnings. So I'm not really concerned about that at all. The next risk is mining level difficulty. So as you're mining these coins with the algorithms, there's only a set amount of coins out there. There's loads for now, so they're not going anywhere anytime soon. But how they protect the amount of coins is the more coins that are mined, the harder the algorithms get and the more power you need to unlock them. So definitely 100%. To mine a Dogecoin in a year's time is going to be way, way, way harder than what it is to mine at the moment. And that means we're going to get less amount of Dogecoin per day, which means less euros per day over time, which again is not great. But it's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's what's happening on with Bitcoin at the moment. So yeah, it is going to get harder to mine Dogecoin in terms of the processing power you'll need to unlock the algorithms. But we can factor that in, and I will do on the next slide. So even if it gets 10 times as hard to mine Dogecoin, and we only get 10% back of our estimated profits, then we can factor that in our calculations, and and still see if it's profitable. So it's something we know is going to happen. Let's just be aware of it and do that. But the other risk, the other way we can mitigate that, and it's not something in our control, but if Dogecoin does pick up in value, then yes, we'll be earning less Dogecoin per day, but they'll actually be worth more money. So if Dogecoin goes up in value, then our estimated profits will stay the same of $1 of €1.64 a day, or whatever it is on which contract. So that's going to be good for the really hoping that would be great if the Dogecoin goes up in value. Obviously, if Dogecoin decreases in value and the mine levels are getting even more difficult, then it's going to be pretty hard long term to make the earnings. So that is a risk. You do need to be aware of that. But overall, I'm not overly worried by this. Yes, it's going to get harder to mine Dogecoin. It might go up, it might go down in price, but it's still going to be a profitable investment because I've done the calculations and I'm confident on them. The other risk, again, is that when you do a bit of research, they're open about this. So there's no research really needed, but the company is based in Estonia. Now, I'd feel a lot more secure if the company was based in the UK, for example, because if anything happens, it's a lot easier to bring legal proceedings. But the fact that they are based in Estonia is a risk. If they shut up shop one day, it's going to be very hard to get in touch with them. Near impossible. Obviously, I hope that doesn't happen. But you've got to bear that in the back of your mind. And with any investment, always put in what you can afford to lose. So yeah, I don't have anything against Estonia people or Estonians, but yeah, you do need to be aware that obviously any legal action is going to be very hard to take against them if something does go wrong. Okay, everyone, I've been talking for far too long now, probably, and I want to draw some conclusions or the key summaries to take away from this, or what I'm going to be focusing on the project. So the absolute key to this, and the key to making money, is getting past the 54.5 day break-even point. Once we've done that, we cannot lose, providing I stick to my investment strategy. Feel free to copy that. Once we get past that point, we're at the break-even point. Worst that's going to happen is that we are going to break even. Even if something happens after 30 days in, at least we're still going to get half of our money back. Yes, we'll still be at a loss, but unlike investing everything in, say, stocks and shares where you can lose everything, at least we're going to have something back. I don't think that's going to happen. The site's been around for, I think, at least 6 months now. So if we'd have joined on day one, we'd already be 6 months into this project. So if anyone did that, fair play to them. I'm going to be starting it now. So yeah, let's see where we are in 2 months' time. Providing we get there, we'll be absolutely laughing. You know, we can't lose. It's just going to be win-win after this. So with that in mind, this is why I think this is a great investment, because it's got a very, very low risk to high reward ratio compared to, you know, stocks and shares, investing in gold, investing in indices, etc. I just think you know, it's very hard to find such a low risk, high reward ratio. I was, you know, currently trading prior to this, and you know, the risk reward isn't anywhere near this. So this is why I'm kind of going to stop on the exchanges and start mining instead. And long term as well, you know, obviously we've got this big figure of €50,000. Even if we just earn 20% of this estimated amounts, because, you know, difficulty increases, Dogecoin, you know, changes value, then, you know, even if we earn 20% of this, that's still €10,200. You know, that's a really good investment. That's 780% return in 2.5 years. You know, that's way better than the bank, way better than any savings account's going to do, way better than, you know, pretty much every kind of hedge fund's going to do. I just think that's, you know, fantastic, and, you know, is the sole reason why I'm putting my money into this. Like I said, after the 54.5 days, we can't lose. That is the key, and yeah. Who knows? Dogecoin could even increase in value. If, you know, we could even earn more than that. But, you know, let's take a conservative approach and just say we earn 20% of that. €10,200 is fantastic. You know, if we get the full €51,000, fantastic. If we get more than that, even better. But, you know, as long as we're making money, then it's good. You know, my money would have only made 1 or 2% interest in the bank, so as long as I'm beating that, then it's an investment well done. So with that all said, I hope you found this video really useful. I hope you do follow me on my blog at MyCoinProject.com. Come leave me comments on the YouTube video. If you like it, please do sign up using my affiliate code. I'll be really appreciative. You can ask me questions within their Cointellect software if you use my affiliate code. So, you know, if you want to know anything, just drop me a message using their system, or drop me a message on the blog or on YouTube, and I'll look to get back to you as soon as I can. So let the journey begin, and let's hope we start on a profitable adventure. Cheers, guys.